everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we are doing the last group prediction that I have at least scheduled or planned, which is NCT Dream. And in this video we are going to just figure out what their year is going to be like. In the description below I will have the questions that we're going to answer in this video, as well as the timestamp, so that you guys can jump around in case you are curious in other, like in a specific question as you see. And with all of that being said, I will start with the first question to figure out how is NCT doing right now. So what is NCT's Dream's current energy? Perfect. We have 3 cards. We have the Ace of Cups reverse, the Six of Cups reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles reverse. So we have 2 aces, meaning that there's a new beginning. However, them being reversed shows that it's not quite the start of this journeys yet. It's more like it's about to happen, but it's not really there. So this makes me think that the group wants to try something new, wants to start on a new chapter, but maybe they still have to like finish some old stuff or brush on some things. And by that, what I mean is like maybe polish their skills or maybe cleanse themselves a little bit from previous cycles in their life. And that could mean that since they're still kind of like completing something, they can't fully start fresh for this year. It's like they still have some prior commitments or some scheduled stuff from last year that they have to complete before they can like reset their mind and start thinking on the future and thinking of the things that are going to be done this year. So they haven't gotten fully started on some of the projects and ideas that they have, but let's analyze these cards one by one. So the Ace of Cups reverse could symbolize that maybe emotionally they're exhausted. So maybe there has been like a roller coaster of emotions, a roller coaster of things that have been happening that have made them have very high highs and very low lows, meaning very positive things have been happening and then boom, everything goes crashing and everything's negative. So they have been in a bit of an emotional roller coaster, and that could be very exhausting for the whole group. And also the Ace of Cups reverse, it could mean that many of them are emotionally depleted, in the sense of like they have maybe given a lot of their heart and their emotions, their creativity, maybe even their spirituality, like they've been using it too much to the point that maybe they're exhausted. Or the other thing that I'm getting with this card being reversed is that they need to give a little bit of self-love, a little bit self-care, maybe pay a little bit more of attention to their emotions and their heart, maybe get a little bit more intuitively connected. Like they're lacking something. And I don't know if it's like they don't have it and that's why they're lacking, so they have to like work on that, or they had it and then they kind of exhausted that energy, so now they had to replenish it. So the difference between those two is that in one scenario, the first one that I talked about, they don't have that skill, they don't have that knowledge, so they have to learn it and then just get that energy. And then the second half of the thing that I mentioned is more along the lines of like they already know how to be emotionally fulfilled, they know how to take care of themselves, they know what self-love looks like for them and what it means to them. It's just that right now they need a little bit of time to replenish it. So I guess if we take this into terms of like gaming, the first one will be they have to unlock the ability of what the Ace of Cups talks about. And if not, they just have to wait for the cooldown to be completed and just regain the ability to just be fulfilled. So whatever it is, they kind of just have to kind of take some time to be at the perfect, not the perfect, but like the right state to start something new. And maybe that's why the Ace of Cups is reversed. Now, upgrade, the card could symbolize that there maybe is a romantic vibe going around, but if we're not talking about that, then we are talking about emotional fulfillment in such a way that there is this overabundance of emotions, overabundance of creativity that will kind of like trickle down into other areas of their life, and all of that is very good because that abundance will allow them to manifest whatever it is that they want to manifest because of this like cleansing, healing energy that is flowing through. Now the other card that we have right here is the Six of Cups reverse. So with it in reverse, it may it seems like many of them are more in the second half of what I talked about earlier, meaning that many of them have to unlock their ability to reconnect to their emotions potentially. So the Six of Cups reverse could also symbolize that there's some inner child healing that they have to go through, or maybe there's some things from the past that are coming back to the surface that need a little bit of healing. Maybe even past people could be surfacing back to their present moment, and it's like resurfacing some issues that the group may have had. So I don't know if maybe this is conflicts that the group used to have that now they have to talk through and come to the consensus of like how they're gonna feel about it. So if there was an argument, it's like, okay, so like are we gonna finally like talk about it and like make up for it instead of like ignoring that it ever happened? And if not, it could be just personal issues that are coming back, and it's like the group trying to think back, and let's say they feel like they wasted their youth because they've been in the industry for so long, and they go like, okay, let me think back to it and do things now that I couldn't do before because of how busy I was, or something like that. It's like reclaiming their childhood or reclaiming their youth somehow. I'm not saying that they're old men, because they're not. I'm around many other ages, so we're not old guys. But it's more along those lines of like, if there's something that they felt like they had a missed opportunity on, now is a very good time for them to figure out what they feel like they're missing, so like that they can like make up for it and like do those things that they always wanted to do, and that could definitely help them like heal untreated wounds, and by that I mean like emotional ones. Now the last card you have right here is the Ace of Pentacles reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles usually talks about opportunities, it talks about money, it talks about career, it talks about the universe like offering something, in this case to the group. And with it being reversed, it's like the risk of losing that opportunity. But the way that I see it is like, since they're not ready to take that opportunity, that's why this card is reversed. It's like upright is very positive, but reverse is like they haven't embodied that energy quite yet. So if anything, the message that just kind of came through is like, instead of looking externally for an opportunity of growth, they should look internally for an opportunity they should give themselves. So it makes me think of the idea of like giving themselves the chance to take a risk, the chance to try something new, the chance of revisiting something they've always wanted to do. So it always makes me think with this Ace of Pentacles reverse that they kind of need to revisit something that they've always wanted to do, combining it with the Six of Cups. And by fulfilling that, they will finally be in a stable enough state, or maybe have the right mentality to bring in new energy. Something along those lines. It's like maybe if there were some life lessons that they put on pause because they were busy, it's like, okay, time to revisit them, time to do that healing, time to complete those side quests, if that makes sense. Why am I talking about games? Complete those side quests, and now you can go on to the main story. That's kind of what I'm getting here. It's like, okay, time to do all those things that you put to the side, and then you will be ready for like the new chapter of your life. Or at least that's how the group feels. I don't know if that's actually what's in store for them, but that is how they feel at the moment. Now, with that said, let's jump into the group predictions and figure out what is in store for NCT Dream's career this 2025. So we have New Moon in Gemini with communication is key, and we have New Moon in Libra with a new romantic cycle begins. So earlier with the Ace of Cups, I did mention that it could talk about romance and maybe like a new romantic partner entering their life. There is a chance with a new moon in Libra. First of all, we have 2 new moons and 2 air signs, so that is significant, but we'll discuss that in a little bit. But a new moon talks about like a new beginning, a new chapter, the start of something new, which we did get with the aces as well. So there is a lot of like this new refreshing energy for NCT Dream. They just have to do a little bit of healing before they can take on that journey. But anyway, so with the Ace of Cups reverse, we talked about romance, and with a new moon in Libra, we were talking about romance again. So I just see that as confirmation of something that cannot be denied, and that makes me think that maybe this year we might get a little bit of dating scandals with NCT Dream, or at least very plausible dating rumors. So what I mean by dating rumors is like people go like, there is evidence and it's kind of like an open secret at this point. Like nothing is confirmed, but it's like kind of hard to deny that it's not true. And not necessarily like normal ships that people go like, I ship these two people because they breathe in the same room. Not like that. More along the lines of like, oh, they, I don't know. It has to be something more serious. Like they have promise rings that are custom made. I don't know. I think that would be too obvious, but I'm doing it for the example. And if it's that obvious, I think that just shows that the guys don't care. That just shows that they go like, yeah, may the whole world know. Hopefully they're not careless about it though. Like, come on. They should know their audience, so they should take care of themselves and of their partner. Like, come on. Be a gentleman. Anyway, let's look at the other card. So we have a new moon in Gemini with communication is key. So if they want their career to be successful and do well this year, they need to communicate properly with themselves, with their group, with staff, and anybody else. They have to communicate properly. And why is this significant? Why is this important? Because we saw in the current energy that they're going through a lot of healing. And it almost feels like this healing is not optional. It's reaching the point of like, you kind of have to do it if you want to continue doing well in life. And what I mean by like their healing is not optional, it's not necessarily a threat as much as it is like they're reaching a breaking point of sorts that they will reach a form of stagnation if they don't do their healing. And that is because they won't be able to handle the new energy because of all the baggage that they're kind of like keeping at the back of their head. Again, it's just kind of like that's just how things happen. That's just how it works. Not necessarily like a punishment from the universe being like, you didn't do your healing, now pay up. It's not like that. It's more like, well, I'm telling you to do your healing so like that you are in the right mindset and the right, I guess, frequency to deal with this new energy. Because again, this new energy that's coming in is very promising, but with it comes responsibility, and with it also comes with the idea that things are going to be different. And if many of them have stayed in the same energy for a very long time, this change can be very intimidating and it can be very overwhelming. And that's why the healing is important. Again, it's not a threat. I swear it's not. So the communication is key. It just shows that if they communicate with themselves better, it will make healing a lot of bit easier. And also if they communicate properly with others, they will avoid misunderstandings, and that will definitely make their jobs easier, because then it won't be the whole idea of like projecting with each other or like, look, when they go through this healing, they will reach moments of sadness, of frustration, of anger, of maybe even a sense of stagnation that leaves them feeling a little bit isolated, like they're on their own. They might reach those points. If they communicate effectively and appropriately, they will be able to express to others that they are not okay. And by doing something like that, it will make it easier for other people to deal with that. And why is that important? Well, if you communicate to someone, look, it's not that I don't like your idea. It's not that I don't want to work with you. It's that right now I'm just going through a very rough time. So, be patient with me. Guess what? A lot of people tend to be very understanding. And if they're not, to the curve they go. I think that's how you express, like, let them go, right? It's kind of like, if you have someone that is worth being with and dealing with, they will be understanding and be like, okay, then let's take things one step at a time. Of course, they shouldn't abuse of that kindness, but it's more along those lines of like, everyone's human and everyone understands to a certain extent that we need time and patience to do the things that we have to do. And if you're dealing with someone that doesn't, then, fuck them. That kind of mentality. So with NCT Dream is that mentality, the one that they should have when it comes to their career, is like knowing who they're dealing with, knowing who they're working with, and starting to be a little bit more critical of who they spend their energy with. So like, for example, maybe they don't have the power or control to deal with the company. Like if they're sick, the company will be like, continue working though. Maybe they don't have the power to like fight against that, but they definitely have like the power to like be critical or selective about who they spend their energy with. So if they have free time, maybe keep it to themselves so like that they can just rest. Or if they have free time, I don't know, hang out with people that lift them up rather than continuously bring them more stress. Something along those lines. Be selective with their time, with their attention, and with their relationships. And that kind of also goes with a new romantic cycle begins. If we are actually not talking about romance, Libra talks about partnership, and partnership could talk about business partners. So in this case, it kind of shows that for their career as a group, they might start like reaching out and networking a bit better with other people that are in alignment with a new future ahead of them. And they're going to be working with people that they could potentially fall in love with, or they could be working with people that genuinely want to have a good relationship with them. And it's like, look, this is the business that I have to offer to you, and these are the skills that I want from you. Are we on the same page? And it's like an equal give and take relationship, and it's like an equal dynamic, like equal power balance, actually working together, actually negotiating, and it's not anything crazy and anything negative. It's all positive here. And also, since we have two air signs, that kind of shows that there's a sense of communication, and it's important. Fairness is important. Justice is important. Being logical is important, and also having good communication. All of those things are important. And the connections that they're going to make are going to be connections connected by the mind, meaning that it's not going to be like an emotional connection of like, we love each other, we care about each other. It's not going to be like a material one of like, okay, this is what I gain from you and this is what you gain from me. And it's not a fiery one of like, well, let's just hang out, let's just be happy, and let's just see how far this relationship goes. No, it's an air one where it's kind of like, okay, let's not allow our emotions to kind of get in the way, and let's just talk about things and work through things. Lighthearted, fluffy, a bit detached, but it still works. Now let's go on to the individual career predictions, and I'll go in each order. So what is in store for Mark's career this 2025? We have masks and promise. So remember how I talked earlier about the relationships that they have and like hanging out with people that are in a better alignment with who they're trying to become and all of those things? Well, with Mark, that's the idea. That's what he's going to experience in his career. He's going to how should I put it, maintain his professional persona with like the projects or schedules that he needs it for, and then be his true self with the people that he deeply cares about. That promise card makes me think of people that genuinely want to be with each other, genuinely want to hang out, genuinely are looking for the best interest for each other, and it's all positive energy. That doesn't mean that it's always like everyone always gets along and everyone's always on the same page, because then there's no growth there. But it's more along the lines of like, there's understanding, there is patience, people are talking to each other, are actually listening to each other, people are looking for the best interest of each other. So with Mark, he's going to start making relationships with people that are not fake, are not putting up a front, and more with people that genuinely want to have an established relationship with him. Not just business, not just acquaintances. It's more like, I want to actually be a friend. I actually want to be a business partner. Something solid, more concrete, and one with a secure foundation, meaning that they will have a long-lasting relationship because there is substance there. So yes, it just goes beyond like, what do we gain from each other, and more of like, we're human, and because of that we deal with each other as a very human way of doing things. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, someone that will be loyal and someone that will be with him despite the challenges that may be out there. Also with the mask, I'm getting something along the lines of like, being like, in his career, he's gonna start meeting people that like they are okay with all the sides of Mark. His silly side, his serious one, his angry one, his happy one, the sad one, the detached, aloof one, the clumsy one, whatever. Like all the sides of him, he's gonna deal with people that genuinely like him for who he is and not who he could become or the gains that they can get from him. Again, genuine relationships. Okay, next person. Wait. So what is in store for Brendan's career this 2025? We have Fury. So we kind of saw a little bit of this, I think it was last year, if I have any concept of time and space. And Fury just shows that this year he may have a lot of, he's going to be hot-tempered. He's going to have a lot of issues where things are just not going his way, or he's going to be angry because he's dealing with a toxic environment or toxic people, or he's just not having a good time right now. He is going through healing. He's going through a rough time, and I think it will take a while for him to kind of bring himself back to his usual self, and if not, it's going to take a while for him to become the new version of himself. You know, part of healing is when you want to become a new person, you kind of have to fake it till you make it at points. And you have this pendulum effect of like, you feel like you're being an imposter and you're faking the person that you want to be, and then you kind of pendulum back to the person that you actually are at the moment. And that gap that you see between point A to point B may feel huge, may feel like, why am I having these mood swings? Why does it feel like I'm not myself anymore? But that is part of the transformation. That is part of change. That is part of growth. The whole idea of like being in one extreme because that's who you want to be, and then experiencing it so like that you know what that feels like, and then coming back to where you are actually are at, so like that you can grow and start connecting the pieces towards that new version of yourself. It's kind of like, I guess the best way to describe a transformation is like you are creating a bridge from both sides, and then you meet halfway, and then you just kind of continue the rest of the way. How should I explain it? It's like you make this bridge from both ways, where you want to be and where you're at, right? And then you meet halfway, and then in that halfway point is like that epiphany of like, wait a minute, this is all I have to do so I can reach that other side, that future me. And then you just kind of reap the rewards of your hard work, right? And you just become that person. That's the best way I can describe that. You know what's funny? You guys don't see it because there's just so much the frame can show since I'm focusing on the cards, but the way that I'm moving and everything, I look like that Fury card. Like I'm moving my hands, be like, do you get it? Do you see the bridge? Do you see the explanation? That's kind of how I look like, honestly. Just moving my hands going, I'm not angry. I'm just kind of very passionately explaining to you guys. Anyway, that's person. So, okay, to wrap up Brenjun. So if he doesn't look like himself and he's always angry, is because he is growing and changing, and he is experiencing a lot of frustration, probably with his environment and also with himself, because he's probably experiencing this whole idea of like, who am I, what am I? And then when he answers that question, it's like, okay, then why can't I just be there? Why am I still stuck in this mentality, in this space, and this energy, and this... He's frustrated, let's just put it that way. And because of that, Fury is showing up. He's not going to be himself this year. Okay, now we can go to the next verse. So what is in store for Jeno's career this 2025? We have imagination and nightmare. The thing that I'm seeing here, okay, remember how I just said imagination? Kind of like how SpongeBob was saying it with the whole rainbow and everything. I was placing the cards, and it kind of, it kind of looked, I don't know why, I have a bunch of games stuck in my head. This looks like those little airplanes that you see in like those very pixel-like space shooter games. Not a shooter game, but like you have the spaceship and you just see the little ball going pew, pew. And the enemies, it's kind of like a bullet hell. Whatever. I hope you get the message. I hope you understand. But I just think it's funny that I saw the imagination card, and then I was just thinking of games too. Like, come on, let's just read the cards. So, with the imagination for Geno, it feels like he's going to be very inspired. He's going to be of the few people that are actually connecting to his inner child, but I think he has a healthier inner child than many of the other ones. Meaning that he may not have to do a lot of healing because he neglected his inner child, and he's actually connecting to it to get creativity for his present moment. So, good. That's awesome. That will definitely benefit him, because then he will have a lot of ideas and motivation and inspiration to do what he wants to do in his career. Maybe inspire him in concept, inspire him in ways of acting, expressing himself, and all of those things. It's very positive. But then the nightmare card. You know what? Part of inner child healing is the healing part. So the nightmare just makes me think that his imagination can definitely be a blessing in the sense of creativity, but it can also be one that leads to overthinking. The nightmare just makes me think that he's going to maybe be thinking all of the worst case scenarios for some of the things that he wants to do in his career. So maybe he's planning and thinking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And as he's doing that, he's like, okay, so like, what am I going to do to succeed in this plan? And then he starts thinking, okay, so like, what if this doesn't work out? And what if this other thing doesn't work out? And what if this other thing doesn't work out? And by having that mentality, he may start overthinking to the point that maybe instead of taking action, he's having a lot in his mind and a lot in his head. So he will be planning to the point that he's actually not doing work or actually not taking action. And by doing that, well, he's not going to figure out what actually works for him because he doesn't have an actual foundation that he can like continue growing that skill from. He's just kind of like, what if this happens? What if this other thing happens? And then that could really affect his career because he's not doing anything. But what I'm getting at here as well is that if he's doing inner child healing, then on one side, he's getting creativity, and that's awesome. And on the other side, he is reaching into the actual like painful part of his inner child, right? The part that he neglected, the part that he forgot about, the part that he told himself that's too immature, I need to get rid of that, or whatever it may be. So that nightmare here just makes me think that he might be a bit stressed this year because as he is healing, he's realizing what he has neglected, and he has also realized what he has ignored. And of course, part of healing is figuring out how to work through all of that, and then figuring out how to become a new version of yourself by accepting all of that negativity, but also by working through it. So anything that has to be released, release it, and anything that is just accepting who he is as a person, accepting it. Now, to the next person. So what is in store for Hechan's career this 2025? So we have merit making. Something about the past. Let me look at the bottom of the deck. And real estate. So with the merit making and the real estate for Hechan, this year it feels like he's going to reach out to people that he can work with, and the thing that I'm kind of getting is like whoever he has like a good relationship with or a good reputation with or like a good idea of, he's gonna reach out to them to work with them, and he's gonna gain good results if he has good karma. Meaning, if he treated someone nicely and they see his potential, they'll work with him. If like he doesn't have to ask too much. He just kind of has to make like an act of presence, and they'll be like, yeah, sure, we can work. That's cool. That's fine. The merit making just makes me think that he's going to be like seeing results in some of the things that he has been working on, or maybe as he's working on something, he's going to start realizing like the good things that he has done. With the real estate, I've always seen it as like contracts that are being established and having a bit more of like a concrete solid energy on something. So combining these two things is almost like physically or in a more 3D tangible way, he's going to start noticing the blessings are like his good karma, like the things that he has done that are reaping good results. Is like maybe by helping someone out, now they can help him out. It's not necessarily like he is like, okay, let me collect everyone's debt. It's more along the lines of like, if he needs a favor, he's going to get help from someone that he did a favor for in the past. So if he collaborated with someone before and now he's like, I want to collaborate, then that person's going to be like, yeah, let's do that. Because when they asked, he was a good sport about it. So now they're going to be a good sport about it with him too. So that makes me think that he's going to start looking into the past with like things that he has done with other people and maybe revisit some of those collaborations or revisit some of those programs or something along those lines. And then he's going to notice that these people are going to want to help him out when he needs it. So if he asks for something, they'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. And that's because he ripped like a good relationship with them. And he is going to secure a bit of some opportunities or some key projects because of some past actions he may have done. So again, if he did a favor, if he collaborated with someone and who was a good sport about it, or something along those lines, like he's just going to be, he opened up new opportunities and new doors for him the moment that he offered something positive to somebody else, something along those lines. Now let's go on to the next person and figure out what is in store for Jamie's career this 2025. Oh, that's too many cards. I'll just take the bottom then. And the top, since that one's kind of falling. So we have saving and hesitation. So for Jamie, it feels like he's going to be... I don't know if he's afraid about his financial situation, and because of that, he's going to be saving money and also hesitating when spending his money. So in 2025, either he is saving money for something, and because of that, he doesn't want to really spend, or he's short on money for some reason. And we're going to start noticing this, maybe with the way he expresses himself or the way that he talks. He's going to be talking from a place of like, I'm lacking this, I'm lacking that, or I'm trying not to spend money, I'm trying, like, I don't know, maybe he's gonna come off as like cheap, or maybe he's going to come off as like, um well, stingy. There you go, that's a word. I had the word in Spanish. But yeah, he's gonna come off as like, what is he up to, what is he saving, what is he doing? So he may not really express to fans what it is that he's doing, but it seems like in his career he is either he was going to work a lot to save money because he has an idea in mind, or because he needs it, like he needs the money. I don't know what situation he could be in, so I don't know like which side we're more leaning towards, but yeah. So let's now go to the next person, which is Chenda, and figure out what is in store for him this 2025. So we have endorsement and collaboration. So a lot of people may want to work with him. I think there might be a lot of pressure because there will be a lot of people that is like, work with me and collaborate with me. Have, be part of this program, part of this other program, be part of the schedule and this other one and this other one. And I think he's going to be a little bit overwhelmed with all of the opportunities that are coming through and all the offers that are coming through. Like, he's going to be happy of all of these abundance, but he is only one person and there's just so much he can do. There's just so many things he can be in at the same time. He can't like clone himself and be in multiple schedules at once. So I think that's where he's a little bit concerned with. He has to think of the group schedules, the individual schedules, and all the new stuff that is being presented to him as an opportunity. So he will want to work with people, he will want to collaborate, but he may feel like some opportunities are being a little bit too pushy. Like, we really want you to be here, we really want you to be there. And he's like, but how do I reject these people nicely? And of course, he doesn't really have much of a say with some of his schedules since he's still part of a company, but I do feel like he will feel a little bit bad about rejecting some opportunities, and because he will have to technically weigh out which ones are better, which ones are not, which ones can I do, and which ones can I not do. So it's gonna be all about timing, it's gonna be all about preference and all about convenience. So he may feel a little bit bad about that, but that's just life. But regardless of how this all turns out, I think he will be very grateful with the collaborations, and he will be happy with the ones that he does take in. He's going to be surrounded by people that do want to work together and that will have a very harmonious environment. And it's going to be very good for him, I feel, because it will bring even more opportunities to come through, because it allows him to network, it allows him to build his brand, it allows him to experience new things, and all of that is just more opportunities for abundance to continue coming his way, which we kind of did see in the group prediction. The current energy of the group, where there is a lot of potential and that the group is looking forward to all of this potential. So I do feel that he will be one of the people that will be getting a lot of positive things coming through in his career on his own, at least. But let's go on to the last member of NCT Dream and figure out what is in store for Jisung's career this 2025. What's in store for his career? Okay, so we have homeless, care, memory, and indulgence. So for Jisung, it feels like whenever he is on his own, like, I don't know if he will have a lot of individual activities, because it kind of feels like when there's time to rest, or when there's not any group activities, like when he's on his own or when he feels like he's on his own, he prefers to just hang out with family. He prefers to take care of himself, go down the memory lane, maybe hang out with some childhood friends, maybe just go drink with friends or go hang out with friends. Like, he prefers to just be surrounded by people instead of being on his own. He doesn't, maybe these are the effects of just being part of NCT. Like, you're just surrounded by a bunch of dudes all the time, and he probably just can't really deal with silence or just deal with being on his own because he's so used to being surrounded by people. I guess this could also be the consequences of being an idol. It's like You have some that is like, I've always been an introvert, so being an idol just causes me to spend all of my break on my own. Like, I don't want to see anyone. I'm recharging. And with others, it's like, I miss being surrounded by people. I miss the energy. I miss the vibe. I heard from artists that it's very common that when you have a concert, you feel all the hype, all of the energy, and then you feel like this vacancy with the silence that comes right after finishing a concert. So maybe with Jisung it's something similar. Is like when he's on his own, he prefers to just hang out and be with other people than being on his own. I don't know if that's good or bad, if that's something we should be concerned with or not. And the reason being is like there's nothing wrong with wanting to hang out with people, and there's also nothing wrong with wanting to be on your own. The thing that concerns me is like maybe he should also cherish and indulge a little bit in his alone time, because that is an opportunity for reflection, an opportunity for healing, an opportunity to just analyze what works and what doesn't work and how to continue growing as a person. And I'm mentioning that because that is something that is kind of like the theme for NCT Dream, at least in the current energy, that they have been highly encouraged to do their healing and maybe do some inner child healing as well. Specifically, so I do feel that with him, I don't know if hanging out with other people is a form of like coping and avoiding the healing that he has to do. So that's why I don't know if it's positive or not. It is good to be surrounded by people that love him. It is good to hang out with people. It's good to have fun. Good to be in to like think back in the beautiful memories. But I also think it is important to like dig deeper and kind of swim within the depths of what doesn't feel good, because it definitely helps us just kind of understand a little bit about ourselves. And I think that's something that he may need. I mean, he doesn't have to always be in that healing energy, but it will be beneficial for him to be there occasionally. I just don't know if he just hangs out to avoid his own thoughts, or if he does do the appropriate healing necessary for him. But anyway, let's go into the healing messages for NCT Dream. And let's see, any advice or healing messages for the group? Anything that they need to hear or know? So the first card that came out, we have a new moon in Cancer with you and your loved ones are safe. So if for whatever reason any of them were concerned about the people that they care about and love, the universe is telling them to not worry. They will be fine. They should take care of themselves, worry about themselves. The people that care about them are a good support system and will be there for them, even if they're going through a rough time. So what I mean by that is like if their family is having a harsh time, that doesn't mean that they can't be of good support for the members. It's like they can still be there for them. They don't, those times when someone is going through a rough time and they feel like they can't express it to the people that they care about because they know the people that they care about are going through a tough time as well, so they just kind of keep it bottled up. But in reality, it's like you can still express that pain and those hardships to the people that you care about. We as humans, even if we have problems, it's in different areas and we have different concerns, so we can still help each other out even if we are not in the best space or in the best mentality. So let's say someone is worrying, a family is worrying about their finances, but the NCT member connected to the family is more concerned about this feeling of lacking self-worth or something like that. Well, the problems are different, so you can talk to each other and help and be a support of each other rather than just being your little island and just dealing with your issues on your own and just kind of becoming worse over time. But let's see any more advice or healing. We have new moon eclipse with its powerful change, and we have new moon in Taurus with prosperity lies ahead. So I wanted to point out that Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer are all signs that are close to each other. So mid-April to mid-July could be, like through mid-July, could be very important months for the group. So that's kind of like the end of the end of spring, the beginning of summer. Like that season or that period of the year could be very important for NCT Dream. And the importance there is that that's probably where they're going to see the most growth this year. That's when they're going to see things moving, things changing, things transforming, or they're going to start seeing tangible results to the work that they've been doing. May it be healing, may it be in their career, may it be in their skills or something like that. Like they're going to start noticing, oh, so this is the changes that are happening. So like if they've been working out on something, they're going to see by late spring how things are going to start working or how it's going to look like in their life. So the prosperity lies ahead just shows that if many of them are concerned about something and they want to work with our abundance and their manifestations, they're going to notice by the end of spring how those things are becoming a reality, how they're taking a physical form, how they can like tangibly reach out to it and be like, okay, so this is my manifestation becoming a reality. And the new moons that we see here, literally all through their reading, talks about all of the new beginnings that the group has. So it feels like this year is going to be a very big transformation for the whole group because they're all starting new chapters. And I wonder if this is because they're all together. So when you're hanging out with people, you kind of all start sharing the same energy because you're all like leeching on everyone's energy. That's the word choice, but you're just sharing the same energy, same headspace, the same everything because you're just hanging out together, right? There's a reason why you're hanging out together, so it says something about you. So anyway, so it could be that, or it could also be that since all of them are very close in age, astrologically, they may be encountering very similar generational planet transitions. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Meaning that maybe their astrological signs, planets, houses, all of that stuff is like they're getting marked by very similar things, or they're getting affected by very similar energies. It may just manifest in different places or in different areas of their life. Like, let's say they all have like I don't know. Let's say they all have their Saturn in Gemini, or something like that, and when you have a personal planet like transiting Saturn, then all of them kind of feel that effect at the same time because they're all close in age, and then they just see it in different areas of their life because their Saturn is going to be in a different house for each one of them because the rising will probably be different, right? It can't all be the same for everyone. Even then, the aspects that their Saturn makes for each individual will be different since they're different people. They will also interpret those energies differently anyway. But what I'm trying to get at is that they are all going through a very big transformation as the new moon eclipse shows, and that is because they're going through a new beginning. So it almost feels like the group is going to have like a very hard reset, but I don't know if that's going to affect their concept or their sound as much as I think it's going to affect more their personality and just how they view themselves, how they view their work, and how they are looking out for the future, like what they're expecting in the future basically. And I wanted to mention this just in case, but when I saw that you and your loved ones are safe with a new moon in Cancer, I do wonder if that does include romantic partners, because we did get romance earlier. And I'm saying that because we have romance with a new moon in Libra, and I did talk about romance with the Ace of Cups. So if you want to see some people that could potentially get a little bit of romance, we have Promise with Mark, and we have Care with Jisung, and we have the Real Estate with Hichan. So those could be some of the people that could have romance in their life. And if not, well, we do have to keep in mind that I was talking about their career. So maybe romance is not really going to appear in their career, but they could still have romance in the air. So I'm just saying that just in case. I think NCT Dream is finally at a stage where, like, if stuff comes out, people will be like, about time. But also there are in the K-pop industry, so I wonder if people will still be like, I can't believe they have game. That's impossible. You know how the industry is. You know how fans can be and how they can get. I don't know. I don't know how people will take it. Anyway, I hope you guys like this reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. This reading with NCT Dream was filled with healing, so I do wish them the best of luck with that because it's not going to be easy. Like the hard part is acknowledging that there's healing that has to be done, and then the other part is like analyzing the whole thing. Oh, like what's the issue, what's the problem, what's going on, and then the hardest part, in my opinion, is getting out of that. Because it's like, okay, well, I acknowledge this is a problem and this is an issue. How do I solve it? And then putting that into action is challenging as well, because it's like, well, it's easy, just get over it. And then you go like, but how do you get over it? Oh, it can get challenging when you do healing, especially when you're like, okay, I'm done, and then something happens that it triggers it, and you go like, okay, maybe I'm not done. Maybe there's still some more healing that has to be done. All right. So I do wish them the best of luck with that. As I mentioned, it's challenging, it's hard, and with how busy they are and the environment that they're in, I don't think they really get the time nor the encouragement to deal with themselves, if that makes sense, with dealing with their issues, with their mind, with their emotions, and all of that. So yeah, let's hope it's some that they do end up having a smooth. Ah, who am I kidding? It's not gonna be smooth. So let's just hope that it's as painless as possible anyway. And let's just wish them well. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. Thank you for all the love and support you have shown me and the channel. Let's hope also that NCT Dream takes out some good music this year, so like that you guys can support them through that journey as well. I'll leave this here. Love and healing from my part to you, and